Welcome to the Chasing Meet Cutes podcast. I am your host, Nicole.
And I'm your host, Tricia. And today we're going to be diving into the TV series New Girl and all of the couples that we saw on screen in this show. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a summary. I know it's like one of the most popular TV series ever, but in case you haven't ever seen the show, here's a quick summary. New Girl follows the quirky and endearing Jessica Day, who after a tough breakup moves into a loft with 4 single guys in Los Angeles. The unlikely group of roommates, including Nick, Schmidt, Winston, and Coach, Jess's bubbly personality and unique perspective on life often clash and blend with her roommates' personalities, leading to hilarious and heartfelt moments. As they face personal and professional challenges, the group becomes an unconventional but loving family.
Love it. So we are just going to go through all of the on-screen romances that we saw throughout the series, and we're going to start with Jess.
Yeah, we are.
Woo-woo.
The number one girl. Now remember, we are giving our unsolicited opinions on these couples, okay? Yes. We know that other people might disagree with us, but that's okay because this is our podcast. So we get to do whatever we want. But our opinions are going to be really based on, are they toxic? Are they non-toxic? Did we actually see romance among these couples?
Yep.
And would we want to like a relationship like that for ourselves?
Yep.
Yes or no? And also our opinions are really based on like our faith and and just like other like personal character qualities that we like. But keep that in mind.
Yes.
Okay, so Jess,
go for it. Let's get started with Jess. So
she had quite a few suitors. She
had the most out of everybody.
She did.
Okay, so we're going to start with Spencer, which is like the first one. I mean, episode 1, we see Spencer.
Boo.
Boo. He was the worst. He was the worst. I mean, he cheated and like still wanted to make it work with her somehow in some weird way. Like,
yeah. Also,
Uggo for sure.
Uggo.
Definitely soy boy. Can I say that?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think I just didn't like it. I didn't like how he manipulated Jess into like taking his new girlfriend to the airport and picking her up and all that sort of thing.
No, I mean the fact that like he literally cheated and she still had to feel like I can't go in and get all my stuff without having my whole crew people behind me. Like, bro, you should have been like, I will leave and you can get whatever you need. Like, he was just so about Spencer. You know, I think he just took advantage of Jess's like kind-hearted soul.
Yeah.
Like, she's not going to leave me.
Right.
Like he just thought like who else
I
is she
can
gonna
convince
get?
her to stay. Or
for sure.
Work
like
it
she's
out.
So in love with me that I can do whatever I want and she'll always be with me.
I made a note here that the boundaries are important because
true that.
If she had boundaries, then she wouldn't have been roped into picking up the girlfriend, dropping her off at the airport, whatever it was. But
Post finding out the cheating happened.
Finding out the cheating, yes.
Yeah. You can have boundaries and someone could still be a cheater because they're low life.
Oh,
of course. Yeah. But I also made a note that like this is really the first time that we see Nick showing up for Jess.
Yes.
Even though like all the guys were there. I don't know. Yeah. It was a definite like moment of foreshadowing.
For
like
sure.
He's just like, I don't know this girl, but like I want to know this girl.
Yeah, and I'm gonna
be there for her. Yeah.
Yes.
So okay, toxic or non-toxic? Not that we even have to ask.
Obviously toxic.
Toxic. Which
totally
toxic is such a trigger word. Like I think people throw that word around too often. Because like you don't get along or you're not compatible or you break up. For whatever reason, like it doesn't make the other person toxic immediately. I think there's other factors, but Spencer, definitely toxic
for sure.
Okay. For sure. Who's next?
Next is Genslinger.
Paul Genslinger.
Love Paul.
I honestly,
I don't hate Paul.
But. No, I thought they were like one of the most comical couples that we saw on the show because him and Jess were so similar.
Yes.
That like they were just hilarious together. And I think that has a lot to do with Justin Long. Like he's just so freaking funny. Like he could say anything and it would be hilarious. So
Yeah.
But I do think that that's why they didn't work out, because they were just too similar.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she was kind of seeing her weird quirkiness in a dude. It was kind of like,
right. Yeah,
I'm fine with that, but like, not really my vibe for my partner.
Right.
Fair
like
enough.
We can just be besties,
right?
Kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, okay, toxic or non-toxic?
I put mostly non-toxic.
I said non-toxic
because like the only, and I don't know if I would even consider it toxic necessarily, like where they reprise their relationship, when she backslides to Genslinger and he is the one who's cheating on his girlfriend who he was going to propose
who looks like
to.
Jess.
Who looks like Jess. I don't know. I wouldn't classify the whole thing as toxic.
I think that was just like a toxic behavior moment.
Like a moment.
And I wouldn't even use the word toxic, like you said. I think it was just like a lapse in judgment more so. But yeah, mostly overall, non-toxic relationship. Listen, that's what dating's about. You got to like weed out the bad ones or the ones that aren't for you. So
yeah.
All right.
Next on our list is the fancy man,
Russell. Mr. Russell.
Yes.
Heart eyes.
Heart eyes for Russell.
I love
We love
Russell.
Dermot. We love Dermot Mulroney.
Exactly. I mean, he looked just as good in this as he did in like every movie he was in the 90s. He just doesn't age, and if he does, it's like a fine line.
Exactly.
Just for that alone, I was like, love him.
Yeah.
Like
I actually did like them together.
I loved them together.
I
loved them together.
I thought like, he's well established, has a great job. Obviously he had been married before, but he's like, mature, has his stuff together, that sort of thing.
It does get tricky when you're dating somebody, like when you're a teacher and you're dating a student's parent.
Yeah.
Because you're obviously, it's just like a tricky situation.
Yeah.
And anybody that's dated a married person that maybe the ex is a little bit toxic, it just like adds a layer of like tough situation to your relationship, especially when you're just dating.
And his daughter was one of her students too, like not just like
a student
at the school,
her
like
student. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just like oof.
Yeah.
But I even though he was older and had been married, I don't think that Russell was ready for Jess.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't think he was really ready to like settle down with her.
No,
because
anyone for that matter.
We find out later that he's a serial husband. Like he is getting married.
Mm-hmm. He's quick to commit
6 other people by the end of the series or something like that. So
yeah, but another little like Easter egg of him kind of like putting it out in the atmosphere about her and Nick, the whole like in the restaurant at their date situation, just like little moments like that. And then of course when we see him again at the very end of the show, him sharing his opinion on their relationship,
right, and saying just marry me anyway. Like, no,
Russell,
Russell,
no,
we can't let you do that to our girl.
But I did make a note here, and I do think like their connection was genuine. And it was super fun to watch on screen because they had a lot of chemistry. But I think if we were to like apply like real life to it, I think it was more of a lust over love situation.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they enjoyed every minute being together, but I don't think that there was actual like meat there.
Yeah, I don't either.
No substance.
Agree.
So, but with that being said, I say non-toxic.
I say non-toxic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just a little casual.
Yeah, it wasn't anything like
it wasn't too
crazy
serious.
that like
she wanted it to be more. Like that's where that's how I think we can see that he wasn't ready for Jess or anyone like Jess, because she wanted that passion.
Yeah.
And he just he wasn't there with it. Yeah. He was just like, no, like, yeah, I want to be married. Like again, he was a relationship addict. So
right.
Anyways, yeah. Next on the list is Dr. Sam.
Dr. Sam.
I think we're going to have differing opinions.
We are. I started my note with the fact that I have an unpopular opinion about Dr. Sam.
You do?
I do. Guys, I really don't like Dr. Sam.
I mean, I think there's a lot of people who like don't like him because he's not Nick, but I think you have a different level of dislike.
Why? I mean, yes, I do. I don't like him at all. I didn't like him for Jess either time.
See, like, that's where we differ. Like, sure, there were parts of him that were like so annoying to watch, and you're like, Jess, he's dumb, even though he's a doctor.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, they started out at like as just a hookup.
Yeah, it was just like a friends with benefits
Yeah.
situation.
Which that's why I feel like the first round of dating, like, because they started that way, it kind of forced them into a situation where they had like a lack of clarity. Like, they weren't really even pondering, like, should we date? Do I like you? It was just kind of like, well, we started it and we were obviously having sex, so let's just see where this goes. And then,
yeah,
like, it kind of snowballed to be more serious. But
yeah, my issue with it was that, like, Jess pretty quickly, like, wanted to actually be serious, but she was convincing herself that she didn't want to be. And then when she brings it to his attention, like, no, like, I really do want more than just this. And he's like, you knew what this was. I don't want that. I don't like that.
Sure. But he did have some cute moments. I think
what?
I think, like, the cabin episode, like, they're laying in bed or whatever, and he was just even like, I, like, was drunk on absinthe and I still chose you kind over of thing. A stripper, like, over a stripper. And sure. Obviously that's like funny, haha. But even in the later episodes, like when he says like that he loves her, or they're like laying in bed, and I think she's kind of seeing like, this guy and I like look good on paper. He's the doctor, I'm a teacher. We have history, and sometimes I think when people have had history with someone and then it comes back around, they automatically feel like it's like must be meant to be or something.
Right.
If this person's coming back into my life, like,
right.
It's got to be meant to be. But yeah, I do think he had some sweet moments. I thought there were moments where we saw that he was supportive, but I honestly just think that he also saw that Nick and Jess were meant to be, and deep down he always knew that. Yeah. Even though he had genuine feelings for her.
Yeah. But you know what else I hate is in the episode where Nick and Jess kiss when they're playing True American, and Dr. Sam shows up like before they kiss, and he's there with his beard cheering, kiss, yes, kiss. And then the next day he suddenly is like really upset about it. And I'm like,
dude, that is...
I don't like that.
No, that's not fair. And also, that episode, like, sure, he was in surgery or whatever, but, like, if I call somebody because I think someone's breaking into my house, you better come.
Like, you think the Crips, she thought the Crips were literally, like, outside her door. That's what she said.
I just think that I would want my person to, like, be there. Totally. But I know that that's unrealistic, and, like, if he's a surgeon, like, there's nothing he can do. But...
I think, well, and I think their reprise, their get back together, like you were saying, I think that whole thing just seemed desperate to me. It was like she was grasping at straws to like you said, because they're just getting, someone comes back into your life and you automatically assume like, oh my gosh, like this must be meant to be. So I'm going to just like,
well, and I think because like when they were good kind of a thing. So and at that point in the show, Jess was obviously combating her feelings for Nick. Yeah. And I think she just like knew that would be a comfortable thing to get back involved with. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, that the second round of them, I think because he was so mad at her, like, and they really had to like think about like, do I want to get back into this? Like, I thought there was more of a thoughtful process into entering that second phase, even though it didn't last. Yeah. But I thought the way that it ended was like respectful and honest, and like it sucked for Jess, but I think deep down she obviously knew she didn't want him anyway. So that's why I said overall, Dr. Sam and Jess, non-toxic.
I said toxic.
Okay. You know what? And that's okay.
We're going to agree to disagree.
Yep, we can agree to disagree.
And that brings us to Nick.
Yes, it does.
I mean, obviously, they're perfect.
They're perfect. I immediately cooler episode. Yeah.
That's literally the first thing I said was their first kiss was just everything.
I mean, you don't see that on TV.
No.
Maybe a couple like cult classic like
Yeah.
TV series. But that,
Yeah.
I think their whole relationship leading up to that, the fact that we didn't see that for an entire season and a half, really,
Yeah.
like the tension for us as viewers was there.
Yeah.
Like we were ready to see them finally just give in to each other.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think that episode 2, you see Nick have like genuine feelings and care for Jess, like when they're just like kiss, and he's just like not like this.
Like I don't want to
like
do it.
I'm not going to do that. And I think if it was anybody else, he would have just done it because who cares?
Even if it was like Schmidt,
right? Exactly. We know they've kissed,
obviously.
So I think that really kind of showed at that point too that Nick was mindful of Jess and her heart, and I think that's very special,
sweet.
and I think that's a good quality in somebody.
Agree.
Just that you're actually thinking about the decisions you make and how they're going to affect me and my heart.
Right.
And it just made the moment that much like amazing, that much more amazing when he did kiss her, because it was epic. It was the best kiss ever.
It really was.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously hated that they broke up. I thought the reason they broke up was so dumb.
They could have worked through that.
Obviously, it was necessary for the show,
right,
for purposes of the show. And I don't know. I think, too, like, Nick probably didn't really know what to do with all of the, like, his feelings and this type of relationship because of his past relationships haven't been like that or that serious, or he hasn't felt that seriously about someone. So,
or he never pictured himself actually settling down.
Yeah.
And then when that kind of, he just like panic moonwalk away. Yeah. You know, that is his knee-jerk reaction. And so, I think it's something that they could have worked through. Like if Jess was like, no, we're not breaking up, we're talking about this. Yeah. Like forced him to like figure it out. But obviously it's a TV show and they had to get creative with the writing and the story. And I thought overall it was a good decision because then we just got to see that whole tension and build up again. Yeah. But I think that they were obviously just destined to be together. I think it's a good example of like best friends to lovers kind of thing. Like they genuinely loved being around each other just platonically before there was any romance involved. Yeah. And I just think that as far as like TV goes, I thought like their chemistry was just unmatched.
I agree. It was so good.
Yeah. I mean, we've all seen the little like edits that people make of just like the way that Nick would look at Jess. Her, like, come on. Like, I know. Some actors can do that and some you don't buy it. Right. And I think you could really buy into their love.
Especially even when you watch it back, you notice it so much more. Like in the earlier episodes, earlier seasons.
And they're similar enough, but like, because they're both kind of like quirky and different, but they're different in who they are. Yeah. So it was kind of that like a good example of opposites attract.
Yeah, like it works.
Yeah, it just worked for them.
It works.
Yeah.
Would that be a relationship that you would want?
I think there were elements like I'm gonna need my future husband to have a bank account, which he and he not to have like his a little
not a box of
yeah, we can't have the box situation. But totally, as far as his character goes, I think when it matters, Nick steps up to the plate.
Yes,
there's plenty of examples of him like, I can't do this, I'm awkward, I'm cracking under pressure, whatever, like all the goofiness about him. But like when it came to Jess, he was always willing to like go there, and do what she needed him to do. And I think he felt better about himself. So like anytime you feel like the other person makes you better, I feel like that attraction just grows.
Yeah, and it's just easier.
So yeah, obviously I want someone like Nick Miller.
Yeah, totally. Obviously non-toxic.
Non-toxic
for sure. Okay, who do we have next?
Next we have Ryan.
Oh, Mr. Ryan goes in you.
Ryan goes in you.
Ryan. I don't have much on Ryan, but I just put that he was a filler, kind of. Like he was obviously like very cute, but we really didn't get much depth.
I honestly wondered if there was like a scheduling conflict with him with
Yeah.
like other things he was working on, because I thought that I feel like, now I'd have to go back. Like, do you think he was on more than Paul Genslinger? Because I feel like they gave him a decent amount of time to be just like this guest star,
I guess. But I don't know. Because
the way that it like ended, it was just seemed so quick. Like, oh yeah, they're not together anymore. Show up
to the wedding,
right?
Her dad's wedding.
Yeah,
it was just over.
It was just done. We got no further explanation.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I really don't think that he wasn't really there for much, to be honest. Like,
yeah, I mean, but I don't know. It might be equal to Genslinger.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I thought he, obviously, like you said, he's a cutie, and I thought there was definite attraction there, and I think it was good for Jess to experience the relationship that they did have, because it kind of, I think she's a people pleaser. Yeah. And the whole, like, should I date him because he's a teacher?
One of my employees.
Right. Like, but I think it kind of forced her outside of her comfort zone a little bit to be like, no, I want to be with you, and we're going to make this work, and we're going to put the boundaries in place at work to make it appropriate and whatever. But I just think he also served the role of like the guy that Jess needed to date to get over Nick. Yeah. Because Nick didn't really have a problem like sleeping with random people. And obviously we saw the episode about that where he wasn't like finding any sort of depth with those women. Right. And he missed that connection with Jess and the relationship. But she didn't really have that. So I think that was good for her to kind of have that, call it a filler or not. I think it was just like, good guy, wrong timing. Yeah. Just like, I thought what they had was sweet. It was fun to watch. Yeah. Like when they finally kissed, like that moment was cute too. And like the whole conference thing, like her being so adamant about like, I don't want to like interact with him. And then like every situation, they end up together. It's like, that's fun to watch on screen.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't have anything really bad to
I think it was
just
sweet. Like when I think of it, I think it was sweet and obviously non-toxic. Yep. All right, the last one for Jess.
Robbie.
Blobby. I literally put LOL. Ayo, cuz.
I just put woof.
Yeah. It was like, go ahead.
It was forced. It was so forced in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Like not on the show, but like I feel like it was Jess wanted it to work so badly because like she was influenced by all of her friends to like just do it, even though like she's like saying I don't feel the spark, but they're like basically go find the spark then. Like
that's relatable.
You have to. Yeah. So again, boundaries, people. And I think that's the danger of like not seeking wise counsel is getting involved with this person who right off the bat is just like not right for you. Second of all, they're cousins. They're cousins.
They share blood. So for that reason alone, toxic. Yeah. No, but outside of that, I do think that it was super forced. I think they made great friends. Yeah. And I think the other friends, like at the single, what was the singles camp called, or the singles retreat?
I'm single and I'm sufficient.
I'm single. Oh yeah, I'm single and I'm sufficient. When they were there, you know, like they're obviously connecting, and I think and like when they're on their hike and they just on that episode they discover they're related. It's like they vibe, like they can have funny conversations, like they genuinely get along great, right? And that's okay to like leave at there that. As a platonic relationship.
You don't have to like then cross.
No, I think friends sometimes see somebody that you're like getting along with, like, well, you should date him. Like, is he single too? It's just like, don't put the pressure on your friends if they've already vocalized, I'm not into it.
I'm not feeling it.
Because then I could see like in Jess's position, maybe feeling like, wait, do they like think of me less than because I don't have a relationship right now? So like maybe I should. If they're telling me I need to, then maybe I ought to. Yeah. But
and
there
of course
shouldn't be that obligation.
Like, at that point, Cece had already dated him too, which is so odd.
I know.
I don't know. Of course, Cece's like, it's fine, but And we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was it for Jess.
That was it for Jess. She had quite a few.
She did.
But,
I was actually like surprised. Not surprised. Obviously, I've seen the show 100,000 times.
mm-hmm.
But I'm like, oh, dang, she really had the most out of everybody.
She did. Like the most serious.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Nick. Although we've already talked about Nick and Jess, so we're just going to talk about.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about them again.
His other relationships, starting off with Caroline.
Caroline. She's also the worst.
She's psycho.
Yeah.
She's selfish, and she's a gaslighter.
100%.
She makes their relationship problems 100% Nick's problem when we see, girl,
Mm-hmm.
you
girl.
got some problems
It's
yourself,
all you,
okay?
Sister. I mean, that's really all that needs to be said.
That's
about
all
Caroline.
I put. Ew, psycho, selfish, gaslighter.
And also
Bye.
toxic. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Reagan. We're also going to have different opinions
we
here.
We have different... Wait, do we?
I think we do.
Okay.
Like, well, maybe here and there we might agree, but I don't know.
I can't remember what your opinion on Reagan is. I just know that I didn't hate her. I didn't hate their relationship necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I kind of loved that Nick went for it, even though, like, she may have been, quote unquote, out of his league.
Right.
But she was never going to commit. So, like, that part of it was, like, kind of irritating.
She wanted to. Like, she wanted herself to be that person.
But she just wasn't going to be.
No.
Yeah.
But I think she's that type that's, like, career over everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she's just make her a bad person. But it's
boss
just,
babe.
Like, you can't have a relationship if your career is literally going to take first place over everything.
Yeah. And I think Nick, like, also tried to convince himself, like, that would be fine and wouldn't be a big deal. Or, like, I don't know. I think he just kind of tried to convince himself that it would be okay and maybe it'll work out. But
and, like, she's the first girl I've liked like this since Jess, so I should probably just run with this.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, there are things about her that I didn't like that she did, like the secret apartment and, like,
of course,
not telling him about the job promotion, that sort of thing. Of course, I didn't love, but
yeah, I agree, and I think Nick and Reagan's relationship showed us more about Reagan than it did, like Nick, or like I think when Reagan entered the scene, she was just kind of this, like, very focused, hard, like, elite woman who's just like, I don't give a crap about anything. I just need a place to stay, and I'm gonna go to work.
And she
didn't I don't care about friends. Yeah, I don't need need anyone or anything because I got this. I'm all good by myself.
Yeah.
So I think the relationship with Nick, we saw her get broke down a bit and kind of, like, humanize herself a little bit more of, like, okay, she's just a normal person. She has the same feelings and thoughts that she's just so guarded for whatever reason. Yeah. So, I mean, I said kind of the same thing. I said you wanted to hate her.
Yeah.
But because and I think you really only wanted to hate her because she wasn't Jess.
Right. And I mean, I feel like so many people say that they didn't like how she even came into the show at all, like that they even had a Reagan character. But that's what I mean by, like, that I didn't hate it. Like, I thought it was necessary.
I think they needed something when Jess obviously was out.
Yeah. Sequestered.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I can see where people are just kind of like, this just seems too random. Like, you're just going to add a new person to be in the loft. Like, I don't know. Because even, like, when people like Allie are introduced, like, or even Cece for that matter, like, they didn't get the, like, honor of being, like, a loft member.
Right.
But they were still integral to the show.
Yeah.
Integral, whatever. But you know what I mean? So I think some people maybe just felt, like, a little, like, violated, like
she's invading
the loft crew.
The loft and Jess's space, literally.
Yeah, like, you're not a part of the core 4.
Yeah.
5, if you count Coach when he's there. But I don't know. Yeah, I didn't hate her. I think their relationship was also cute. They had some cute moments. The AC episode, that was obviously cute. and her being like scared to jump into it, but okay, I want to. Cute that Nick's like so worried about like texting her and this and that, and then she just texts him right back. Like
it was, I know this is you.
Yeah, it was cute.
Yeah.
It was cute to watch, but they just didn't hold a candle to Nick and Jess.
Of course not.
But I also thought they had the best breakup of all the couples we've seen.
Yeah.
Like, it was a very amicable, very
Sayonara, Sammy.
Literally.
Yeah.
So I thought overall their relationship, even though, like you said, they had some kind of like rough patches of her doing some dumb things, I thought the relationship, when they did get serious, was non-toxic.
Yeah.
If anything, it helped Nick learn what he needed in a partner.
Yes. Agreed. That brings us to our boy, Schmidt. Schmitty. My goodness.
Wow. We are not going to go through every person that Schmidt was ever with because we don't have time. That would be
impossible.
But when you talk about serious relationships, he didn't have that many.
No.
He literally had 3.
Yep.
And one was
barely. Yeah, one was questionable at best.
So let's just start off with Cece, because that's who we see him like dating first as far as like timeline of the show.
Yeah.
They started off toxic, right? They started off
100%.
Like, it's completely just only sex.
It's just hookups.
Like, literally, don't tell anybody. We have to sneak around. Cece was clearly embarrassed. Like, doesn't want anyone to know that she's with Schmidt and whatever. But I thought I kind of liked that whole, like, storyline of it all, because they were both very, like, into hookup culture as individuals, but together, like, they realized like sex wasn't enough. Like, you can't just only have sex and feel fulfilled in a relationship. And so I thought that was, I mean, I'm sure you could take away many other things that don't align with our faith when you talk about sex before marriage and all that stuff, but I think as far as the TV show relationship went, I liked that they both needed more from that.
I could appreciate how, like, his pursuit of her.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, his persistence was, I think his persistence at the very beginning was key to them ultimately ending up together.
Oh, yeah. Obviously. He pulls out his...
And he just, like, I mean, Schmidt is Schmidt, so he's, like, funny and, like...
over the top.
Yeah.
Goofy.
But, like, I feel like he matured a lot in a way.
For sure.
Over the course of the series.
Well, we see that just because even on the fact of the douchebag jar, like, just eventually goes away.
Yeah.
Like, you don't hear them calling him out for the things he says.
Right.
As often.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because at the beginning, he just was, like, so self-absorbed.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. But ultimately, you know.
And I think it took him losing Cece, like, post-wedding relationship, when he was cheating on her. Like, I think he kind of was like, oh crap, like, I don't just deserve Cece, like, I gotta earn her.
Yeah. And
when he lost her, I think he had to, like, revisit that version of him in the beginning that really did have to chase her.
Yeah.
And kind of humble himself. But I think that they were always drawn to each other, like, even when they weren't together in the show.
Yeah.
Like, they were always just, like, buds.
Right.
Like, they were always...
They had just, like, a connection.
They did. They just had, like, this mutual respect for one another.
Yeah.
So, and you could just tell, like, they knew each other on a level that, like, the other people just didn't know. Like,
yeah.
I just think even when Cece is, like, lying to him, saying that she's dating the guy Paul, and he's just over the top, like, Paul. Like, what kind of a name?
What kind of name is that?
Paul. And she's like, okay, fine.
Actually, it's Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Yeah, and he's like, what? And he's like, okay. He, like, humbles himself. He's like, I guess if, like, But I just think even that, like, she knew how he would react to knowing that little fact about him, and I'm just like, they just knew the way that they knew each other. I really liked watching throughout the show. And I do think that, like, she came to love his quirkiness and his weird habits and things he said. And so I love them. I think we could
Me
agree that
too.
they are non-toxic.
Yes, ultimately non-toxic.
As far as like romance on screen, their proposal, chef's kiss.
Loved.
Like
It was
that was so sweet.
so cute.
Yeah.
Even like it's so simple and like with the $5 bill or whatever it was, and then to do it in the loft, like was
there
so
was
special.
It was so like this like unabashed love that he had for her to be like, I don't care about making this a big thing, which you could probably think that at one point Schmidt would have wanted to be like very like attention focused on him, to be like, look what I did for you, and because you're so great. And he's like, I don't care. I've saved this because I said I was going to marry you that day, and I kept it
right here in this exact spot.
Right. And I'm so like, there's a thoughtfulness about it, but which is like romantic, but there was also this like, I don't care who's here behind me. I don't care. He was about to walk out the door. So he didn't have that as a plan.
Right.
It just so happened to be like that. And I just thought like, it was just so cute.
It was very cute. Yeah. And then their wedding, of course.
So sweet. Great. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Loved it.
Yes.
All right.
Let's talk about the cheating incident with Elizabeth.
Oh, with Elizabeth.
Schmidt. I hated when he got himself into that.
I know.
Because it makes you wonder, like, if that's sometimes how it happens.
Yeah. Well, I ultimately really felt bad for Elizabeth in this situation because, the only reason Schmidt wanted to be back with her originally was because he needed to cope with Cece marrying Shit Brian. Like, he needed to cope with that, and that was how he was going to do it.
Yep.
He was going to get Elizabeth, make her feel all great.
And and he knew also, like, wait till she sees me. Yeah. Because she saw me when I was fat and loved me. I know she's not going to say no now.
Yeah, she can't deny me now.
Right.
So that sucked for Elizabeth for sure.
Yeah, I did feel for her.
He shouldn't have done that.
But I mean, I felt for her for sure. But I never really like latched onto the idea and like of loving her.
Oh no,
you know, like she was kind of borderline
obvious
annoying.
Filler too. Like
yeah. I do think though, when he was with Elizabeth, we did get to see like a realness to Schmidt that we didn't get to see otherwise. Like he went back to that version of him when he was fat and in college and just carefree with her, and I thought that was sweet. And I think that honestly was a factor in him like kind of maturing or even growing in being able to come to the realization of like, I can still be me even though I like look different now and I've lost all this weight, and like I can be the hottest guy ever and still make a huge mistake and lose the person that I love. Like life's not just going to be great because you're skinny. But
exactly.
But so I think they were non-toxic.
I wouldn't say that it was toxic.
Yeah.
It just, he made a mistake.
He did.
He made a mistake.
Okay. I don't even want to talk about this last one, but we have to.
I know, we have to. Wait, I'm going to give my honorable mention.
Oh, give your honorable mention.
My honorable mention to Carla Gugino.
Yep.
And her character, Emma. I know her and Schmidt just hooked up a couple times because, you know, she was the VP of the company. But I just love Carla Gugino so much in anything. So I had to give her a shout out.
She is pretty.
She's the best.
Yep.
One of the best. Wait, I shouldn't have said it like that.
Why?
Because I'm like, oh, she's the best. Well, one of the best.
Well, that brings us to Fawn.
Vote Fawn Moscato. Don't vote Fawn Moscato.
Step 1, fondue. Step 2, do Fawn. All I said was, ooh, no, hate her. She was the actual worst.
She was horrible.
Like, she's just a horrible human.
Yeah.
And you talk about, like, their relationship together, the way that she, like, literally mistreated him from the very get-go.
Like, she just needed or wanted, like, arm candy or a photo op or whatever. And, like, the only other thing I said was that Schmidt, throughout the series, obviously has little nuggets of, like, liking political things. Like, he makes comments about certain stuff. So, like, I could see, the Romneys, whatever. I could see the lore.
Right.
Because she was a politician but like, no, just all around no.
And it's also kind of comical because like that would be Schmidt. Like Schmidt's willing to be the first man.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Like
totally.
he's like, I don't need to be the politician.
Yeah.
I want to be the arm candy, but she just sucked.
Yeah, she was
So
horrible.
Yeah, obviously their relationship was very toxic.
All toxic.
There was not a non-toxic moment.
Yes, full of red 40.
Like even when she said something nice, it was false. Like it was just a cover up for something.
Totally. That's it for Schmidt, right?
That's it for Schmidt.
Wow.
Let's move on. Let's move on to Winston.
Winnie the Bish.
Winnie the Bish.
Okay.
The puzzler.
The slow puzzler.
If anyone's a quick puzzler, like, I'm sorry, you're crazy.
Yeah, there's actually something wrong with you then.
Unless it's like a 50-piece puzzle, like, you're insane.
Yeah.
But anyway.
He was horrible at puzzles, though. I mean, come on. And colorblind.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's start early on. It might have been season 1 only that we saw Shelby.
Yeah, Shelby.
I don't know if she was ever in season 2.
I don't think so.
But I think it was just season 1.
Yeah.
That
relationship was doomed from the beginning.
Yeah, I think not that she wanted Winston as arm candy, but I think she just appreciated him as the title and position of boyfriend to say she has. Like, and I think that he was just kind of an accessory for her because she never wanted to actually like connect with him. She just like wanted them to do stuff together or be there or not be there. Like she was completely like fine either way.
Yeah.
But I did think she was just very dramatic and self-centered.
Yeah. I think on Winston's part, like it was kind of forced or like he did it out of desperation. Like, oh, I think I'm just going to reach out to this old fling that I had from whenever. And then just like really was trying to make it work.
Yeah.
But it was all in vain.
I also thought though, like season 1, I think we saw their relationship before Winston's character was fully developed. Like he was still very like random. What is he going to be? Yeah. And he didn't really like you're hearing interviews and stuff about him, like or from him. He was figuring out who
Winston was.
What's my like quippy? Like he wasn't very quirky and weirdo and funny yet. Like I mean, he was in certain ways, but not like he was in like season 4 and 5. So yeah, I just think it wasn't really a great relationship, but partly because we didn't really even know who Winston was.
Yeah.
So I think their relationship was toxic because I feel like it was just like they just like shouldn't have been together.
Yeah. It was, totally toxic. Next we have Daisy.
Yeah.
I feel like
she was kind of the worst.
I feel like, yes. But at like the very beginning, like their very first meet cute, if you will.
The meet cute.
Like their relationship could have been so cute. And then I feel like it went south pretty quickly. But like I loved how they met originally. Right. But then I hated how she just assumed like they weren't going to be exclusive and she just was still sleeping with other people. Don't do that. Don't sleep with other people.
You can't assume that anyway.
Yeah. I just
like if you're going to sleep with other people, you need to make it crystal clear from the get.
Yeah.
Like and then let that person decide if that's something they're into
they're
or
okay
not.
With.
But so obviously like that would be a heck no for me.
For us, yeah.
But yeah, I just think she used Winston him from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Outside of that first, and like that's the thing. I feel like because hookup culture is such a common thing, it doesn't mean she's like a horrible bad person who like had intentions of being like malicious. I think she just was so casual with her dating that it didn't even cross her mind, to think, oh, maybe this guy would want something more than just a hookup.
Yeah, but can you watch my cat
forever?
While I hook up with this other dude.
Yeah. She's not great.
But he did get Ferguson out of it.
He did. His baby boy.
Yeah. But yes, toxic for sure. This is the one I can't even think about talking about. I can't, like, oh my gosh.
Speaking of toxic,
Literally the definition. You look it up, it's her.
Rhonda.
You just got
You just
Rhonda.
got Rhonda.
We got Rhonda for sure.
Honestly, this is the only thing I wrote down about her. She was the intro to Allie. Okay,
Yeah.
we needed her to get to Allie, and
Mhm.
therefore, I'm grateful.
I just wrote down like, what even was this? Like, it was the worst and the weirdest in the entire series.
Yeah, it was very weird.
It was annoying and toxic.
Very toxic. Like, straight up, like, gateway into just being able to lie to your partner and be like, I pulled a prank on you. It's like, no, you're a pathological liar. You have some real issues you need to work out.
And you need to grow up. I'm
You
so
really
sorry,
need to grow
but
up.
like, you need to grow up.
Can we also talk about like the like hospital nurse or doctor that just like brought the newborn baby down? He's like,
baby and
yeah, like I'm willing to participate and
what?
borrow a baby. Like, sir.
No.
Sir, you need to be fired. Anyways, yeah, Rhonda is toxic. We don't need to talk anymore about her.
No.
But she was the intro to Allie.
Yes.
Winston's final and best romance.
Yes. So I loved them.
I absolutely loved them.
I also love that like she wasn't really into it at the beginning. She was like, no way, like you're my partner at work. We can't be any more than that.
And Winston respected that.
He
like,
respected
even though
it,
he had feelings.
Yeah, and it like kind of hurt his heart a little bit.
It did hurt
to let
his
it
heart.
go.
Especially when like the dude she was dating was a total jerkwad.
He was so rude.
Like he just was like, okay, like that's her choice.
I'll take a step back.
Right. But then I do love that, like, as soon as he had opportunity and found out, like, I no longer have to just stand by.
Mm-hmm.
I'm jumping in. I'm not going to waste any time.
Yeah. And
let some other dude swoop in here. Like, and I think at that point, Allie also was coming to terms with her own feelings for Winston. So it kind of worked out timing wise. But they're both just like,
they're so cute. They're so sweet.
I like feel like you can define their relationship as just like silly and sweet. Like they can both just be like on board to do the goofy things. Mm-hmm. But I think they're also like in the beginning or when she was like away for so long at Langley or whatever. And she came back and they were like trying to sleep together for however many too many times. And they're both like wanting to keep on with the challenge because they want to make sure the other one's like good with it. And it's like, that's crazy, number one. But number two, I thought like their intent to do that was very sweet, to be like, okay, I just want to make sure that like you're good. And like, I don't want to like make you feel bad if I don't want to. Like, I don't know. It was just kind of a cute moment when they were both like, you tired? I'm tired. Okay, cool. Okay. Let's cut this.
We're gonna read Nick's
They're just very
individual JPEGs instead.
They were just both very endearing, and I thought their relationship was a real example of a lot of relationships you see. Yeah, like or you that you encounter personally. It's like you develop a crush, and that person's unavailable, and what do you do with that?
Right. I just love that ultimately, like she embraced all of Winston's like quirky antics and just like opened up to be silly herself. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It just was a fun relationship.
Like, I just love like the episode of the housewarming party or what was it? The housewarming party or no, he invited all her family as a surprise party.
Oh, yeah.
And it was at
Schmidt and Cece's new house.
And they all he kept telling that joke like fell asleep in the bathtub. And they're like, everyone else is like, that's not funny.
Like where's the rest of the story?
Yeah. And then she's like, he fell asleep in the bathtub. Like, and I'm just like, laughing. That's what I want in a relationship. Like, I don't care if it's not funny to a single other soul. Yeah. But if me and my partner in life can crack up laughing about it, like that's like humor obviously to me is like super important. I want it to be a fun time and jokey, but I loved their humor among themselves, but also just like they're just in their own little world
totally
sometimes.
Own their own world.
Yeah.
Especially
and that's like totally fine.
Like the storage unit episode where they brought all those things out of her storage unit that she won on like those Japanese game shows or something. And they're just like bouncing on a trampoline in the living room. Like, yeah, so funny.
Yep. They're just like young at heart.
Yeah.
So obviously non-toxic.
Obviously.
Yeah. All right, let's roll around to our girl
Roll around
Cece.
to Cease.
She didn't have many
She
outside of
didn't.
Schmidt as well. So let's just start with Robbie. We kind of mentioned earlier that she had dated Robbie before Jess did.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think when they started dating, Cece was in such a weird place that
Yes.
if Robbie had said he wanted kids, I think there's a chance that they would have like at least stretched their relationship further.
Yeah, because
And
she was in full panic mode
she was.
about the kid situation.
Right. And I think she was kind of also talking herself into poor Robbie.
I know.
I mean, you got to give the dude credit.
I know.
He got with Jess and Cece, but like the dude is not a looker.
No. I mean, he's like honestly such a nice guy and was like
he's the definition of like he's got a great personality.
Yes. Yes.
He does. I mean, he does.
It was their relationship. It was such an odd pairing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, he was super nice, but just like not right for Cece.
No, she would have been settling.
Yeah.
I think it would have been like, I think this is what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like that's just what we see with her and Shivrang as well. It's
Yeah.
like she's always feeling like I have to do this because my parents want me to,
Right.
or I don't have any other
Or I
options,
think
or I'm
this
running
is the
out of
right
time
thing to do.
Right.
Like,
I need to
because
have
my
kids.
culture or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just weren't. They weren't meant to be. So
Yeah.
thankfully.
I mean, their relationship was non-toxic. I mean, it was hardly existent. But,
oh yeah, definitely non-toxic though.
Yeah. And Shivrang.
I just put bless his heart.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was sweet to her, but
they were both in the same boat. Like that's what I kind of liked that. Like he was so sweet to her, but I think he just was doing it because he knew he had to if they were actually going to go through with a marriage. So he's like, oh, I'm not going to be a jerk,
right?
But I also don't really want to do this either.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Non-toxic,
just kind of awkward.
Yeah,
but
also not a good pair. They just didn't.
No,
they didn't match up quite.
No, not even
too
close.
Much. But all right, last but not least, we have our boy Coach. I love Coach. He's underrated as a cast member.
He's so funny.
He is, and he really only had one relationship.
He did, and
towards the end.
I wish we got more of it.
I really do too.
I wish we got so much more of him and May. Like
we literally got like one episode of them interacting. Yeah. And the other times like she was just like there for a moment.
Yeah, like came back for the wedding or Nick's, oh my gosh, I can't talk. Nick and Jess's wedding. Yeah, I wish we got more of it. I love that she was like a little hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
And like literally made him write her an email in order to go out with her. Like I thought that was really cute. And I just thought it was cute, like his pursuit of her, and like he worked really hard on the email, even though it got
that was the theme of their relationship, though. Like he worked really hard to like feel intelligent enough. Like she was brilliant and someone that wasn't just like a random girl who's a hookup for him. Like I think he saw like her. I don't know, like standoutness, if you will, or just like her ability to just be like, well, this is my priority in life. The thing I thought was the best and which I wish we would have seen more of was like the fact that we saw Coach's love for May and his willingness to sacrifice like his friendship, the city he lived in, his job to just move with her to New York. And I'm like, you know what?
Jersey City.
That is a great quality. Like somebody willing to sacrifice their comfort to like move with you, like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So, and I like to think that they lasted together, got married forever.
Oh yeah, they definitely did. They definitely did. Obviously not toxic.
Non-toxic.
I wish we got so much more of them.
I know. Me too. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why we didn't, but what we did get was good, and so great couple.
Yes.
Fun to watch on screen. Cute moments.
Yeah.
All right. So here's a thing that we're going to do at the end of each episode. We're going to give a good old fashioned star rating. Obviously, 5 stars is like the best on-screen romance. Like, loved watching them. They look good together. All the things. 1 star being like, I take it or leave it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Wasn't good. So For New Girl, we're going to go ahead and give 2 ratings. I think we should rate, like, how do we rate the endgame couples? So obviously, just to give the rundown of endgame couples, you got Nick and Jess, Schmidt and Cece, Winston and Allie, Coach and May. What do we give it?
I'm giving it 5 stars for the endgame couples.
I agree. 5 stars. Everybody ended up with their right person. Very compatible. Yes. Lots of chemistry. All fun to watch.
Yep.
For different reasons.
Yep.
Yeah, 5 stars. All right, and then we just broke down several couples. So total overall rating for New Girl couples. The chemistry we saw, the romance elements, how they presented, like how they came across on screen. What do we give it?
3.5.
Yeah. I think 3.5 is a fair rating.
Yeah.
It's more than half.
I could have gone 3 on that, but I mean, and this episode is different anyway because we're breaking down so many different couples for an entire series as opposed to just like a movie or whatever.
And I think it's different for TV series as well. Yeah. Like, it's really hard to execute like romantic on-screen moments for TV because you only have 20 minutes of an episode.
Yeah.
And a lot of those couples that we broke down, like for Jess and Schmidt or whoever, it's like a lot of times they're just like random guest stars. So you're not getting enough time to really buy into who they are or their character or their connection.
Yeah.
Where movies, I feel like you get more time to really develop that. So yeah, I think 3.5 is fair. Obviously, the 4 couples that we had at the end were so great. Yeah. But there was a lot of other ones we had to take into consideration. So but overall, I think New Girl showed us a good amount of both what toxic couples look like and non-toxic. I think they did a great job with that.
I agree.
And we were chasing some meet cutes in New Girl.
Yes.
Lots of good meet cutes. But that's it for this episode.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. If you're a fan of New Girl, let us know in the comments who your favorite couple was, who your least favorite couple is, and do you think the couples were toxic or non-toxic? Because I know you guys might disagree.
Yeah.
Just our opinion.
Some hot takes there.
Yes, we do. All right. Well, we're looking forward to the next podcast. Give us a listen.